What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and today we're going to talk about Stellar Blade because this game has become surprisingly controversial. People talking about boycotts, censorship, people kind of attacking each other, and I want to try and have a very adult conversation about this. Video games are art. And art is not supposed to always make you comfortable or happy or be what you specifically expect it to be. It is a game that has some very big titties in it. And somehow this seems to have offended some people. And I want to talk about it. And I do want to do my best to look at this from all angles because this is a unique circumstance.
The game isn't even out yet. And people have been absolutely melting down. I can't even describe, I can't believe that these idiots are still proclaiming that a video game is going to ruin people's lives. One of the editors of IGN, or a game journalist at IGN, literally said that it was ruining women's lives because it was such an unrealistic depiction of women, in spite of the fact that it is a literal depiction of a literal woman who literally worked on the game. Yes, not every woman has those proportions, but at least it's an actual woman. The idea that, these unrealistic beauty standards, hey, you want to talk about filters and what it does to young kids' minds? We can talk. You want to talk about catfishing? We could talk about that. But this whole argument of like, oh, it's an unrealistic body proportions, when it's literally the definition of the exact proportions of an existing human being, is hilarious. This meltdown and apology tour has been incredible. Let's take a look.
So we've already seen IGN France disrespect the creator of Stellar Blade by saying, has he ever seen what a woman looks like? Which I made a video about that already. But now he has a complete meltdown. IGN then has to make an apology. It's a giant mess. Let's go ahead and dive into this now. This comes to us from Grums. He says, IGN France editor-in-chief melts down. Stellar Blade is literally unaliving women. Yes, this is what is up. So we got a translation here. But here is the original post from Erwin Lafloriel. I can't read French, but here we have a translation. All right. He answered, yes, no problem. Go tell that to the women who are hit, killed, denigrated, or who unalive themselves because they cannot live up to the fictional standards expected by men. Is there a singular case of this happening at all? Even one? I can't say that I've ever heard of even one case where a woman said, oh, I can't be as beautiful as this video game character. And so there we go. There goes the end of my life. Haven't ever seen that at all.
The problem is not that it's a sexy design, except that it sucks compared to others. But hey, that doesn't matter. But the percentage of males who will only want this type of fictional body in reality. Obviously, we understand that does not shock people who think that women are objects who must obey and be beaten. What? The design makes us sigh and roll our eyes, and we laugh at anyone who needs it, man or woman, but that's it. The certainly clashing remark in text, which is the entire creative process, not necessarily a specific designer or the game director. This is obvious to anyone who knows a little French. Only has this impact because it's a good portion of gamers have become too fragile due to being fed the patriarchy. I mean, these people, imagine living your life like this, thinking that Stellar Blade.
Truly baffling behavior. Now, I want to quickly give my take. I've been trying to be impartial. We're going to look at a couple more tweets here in a second, but I'm a big fan of video games as art. Obviously, I've dedicated my entire life to video games. All I do is game and get platinum trophies and try and do side quests and see the weird stuff that's unseen. I love my job. I love exploring video games, and I do think that art, whether it is movie or music or books, censorship a lot of times is just the not correct path. But this one on my arm that you can't see very well is from Chuck Palahniuk. This is a writer who makes books that are so offensive, people often vomit. Literally vomit reading Chuck Palahniuk books. And if you've ever read a Chuck Palahniuk book, this is the guy who wrote Fight Club and Devil and Rant, Invisible Monsters. I've read every book he's ever written. His stuff is at times repulsive. When I was reading his book Haunted, I actually almost vomited. Now, here's the point I'm trying to make. I would never ask Chuck Palahniuk to edit the way he's writing. I don't think it's supposed to be the most mainstream of mainstream. I think art is a lot of times not supposed to just be challenging, but I think there is an entertainment to pushing you outside your comfort zone. That's why I'm obsessed with horror. I love studying horror movies. Recently, I watched Late Night with the Devil, and to me, not only was it a really good movie, I liked the fact that it was uncomfortable and different and weird. It wanted to be cool, but it also wanted to make you afraid and feel a bit weird while sitting in your seat. I think Stellar Blade is the kind of game where it's not the biggest political statement. I'm not saying that, wow, the world's going to get changed by how fat those sweater meats are. To me, I think it's just showing the fact that they wanted to make a specific kind of horny, badass art. And to me, that is fine.
It's an art form. It's nice to look at. That's it. Why would you not want to have this idealized version? Why not? Why would you not want to escape from reality and be like, let's look at these characters that look unbelievably beautiful or handsome in these games or in these comics or in this and that? Why not? It's an escape from real life. Not only that, but again, nobody's projecting this onto real life. If you were to see a lot of like anime character proportions, for example, male or female characters in real life, it would look really weird. It just would usually. So it's an art style. It's creative. It's cool looking. Eve in particular was modeled after a real woman. Granted, they definitely altered and added an artistic element to it, but I think that's a good thing. I don't play video games just for a reality simulator. I can look at the real world anytime, you know? But that's just me. All right. Not necessarily a specific designer or the game director. This is obvious to anyone who knows a little French. Only has this impact because a good portion of gamers have become too fragile due to being fed the patriarchy. A man wrote this? I can't use my favorite slur. What a... Oh my gosh.
The cope around Stellar Blade is hilarious, and for several years now, just watch all these triggered fragile narcissists will pretend they never had any problem with it, just like they're now doing with Bayonetta. Right, when the game's, when the game is widely popular, they're going to pretend that they didn't write these stupid articles. IGN's going to pretend like they didn't take a shot at this woman. I mean, it's hilarious to me. Zero Hedge says, Stellar Blade, woke activists enraged by video games with attractive female characters. I mean, it really is just that. It really does come down to, quite frankly, just that. It's not really any more complicated than that. It's like, oh, here's an attractive female. We don't like that. We've been trying for years and years and years to uglify all the female characters in video games. By the way, successfully, make all the AAA females look like males or androgynous or ambiguous to blur the line between male and female. This has been a concerted effort. And this is one time where there's a line in the sand that nobody can deny that Eve is all woman, and they're losing their minds over it.
Okay, so this is what I like to see with games like Stellar Blade is that they focus on being video games and being fun. It's not about pushing an ideology that we keep seeing in the gaming industry lately. Right here we have this tweet that says Stellar Blade director Kim Hyung Tai hopes people will view Stellar Blade as just another fun action game. Really freaking awesome. Like, finally. Oh yeah, we wanted to make a game. That's a game and that's fun. Love it. I know that in the West, game characters have to be realistic in many ways, and that There are numerous issues involved, such as gender and racial diversity, but Stellar Blade is only an entertainment and cultural work. I hope people will look at it as just another fun action game that has been released. That's what games used to be. Like, dude, I keep going back to the older games, and it's just so refreshing. They're so much better than modern games that just try to force an ideology on you. And that, they have to be realistic. They have to talk about real world issues. They have to do this, that, or the other.
I almost think non-opinion is, in a way, the correct opinion. Buy the game, don't buy the game. Beat the game, try the demo, ignore it. All of these are correct options. But I do think the weirdos that are trying to, in their own way, post upon it, being like, oh, this is all part of the male gaze. It's toxic sexuality. This stuff to me, I don't know. Positive, negative, do whatever you want with it. But my take is definitely just, I like the game. I'm going to buy it. I'm definitely going to review it. But the people that are clearly seethingly mad, touch grass. And maybe someday touch a titty. Jesus Christ.